I keep forgetting about that. Oh man.
This meeting is being recorded. Welcome
This is
to
being recorded.
episode
Oh.
Juggy 16. Is this episode 16?
Yes, it sure is.
Awesome. So we are here on this another lovely day. It's just been so beautiful out lately. I'm loving it. It's making my well-being just shoot up and everything feels
Weather has been
good.
fantastic the past two Tuesdays. Today and last week was phenomenal.
What's your favorite thing to do when the weather is nice?
When like this nice, like when it's warm out and all that stuff, it's
Yeah,
shiny. There's not a
but
cloud in
like
the sky.
yeah, but like good enough to be able to do stuff outside, not sweltering.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's not like humid. It's not unbearably hot, but it's just like a pleasant hot with a nice cool breeze. I honestly anything that is that I have like a lot of mild movement. I've been saying this for weeks now. I love going on nice long walks. Um, Ever since I started this job at the restaurant, I've been on my feet a lot more lately, but still it's just one of those things where I'm used to being on my feet a lot. And I just like being out there. You know, it's very tough for me to stay inside on a day like this. Like I'm looking at the trees and they're just waving. Oh my God.
What are you on
Okay,
acid?
let's end it right now so we can. Yeah. Oh my God, the trees are moving, man. Wait, let's talk about dropping acid on a beautiful day, man.
My favorite thing has been
Yeah, what's
gardening.
yours?
I
Ah,
I might have talked about this on the last episode, but I love weeding. And I think
who
that's a good
doesn't?
segue. I mean, not many people say that. A lot of people hate weeding, and it seems like such a
I
daunting
love
task.
weeding.
But
I don't know what you're talking about.
all right.
On a
Well, I
beautiful
mean,
day,
which
there's
which kind
nothing
of
like
weeding are
weeding.
we? Yeah. So
That's
so,
cool.
anyways, I think it's a good segue into what we're going to be talking about today because weeding is, I've realized, another form of meditation for me. Like, I
Hmm.
can go outside and be by myself. Last time I weeded, it was like an 8-hour ordeal. It had been a while before I
Hmm.
pulled some weeds out. And I just learned so much, as corny as it sounds, I learned a lot about myself. And that's because it was essentially me just spending time with me, and nothing else was there to disrupt me besides me pulling shit out of the ground. So yeah, that's the reason why I say that's a good segue into our topic today, is because maybe it's not a good segue. It makes no sense when I think about it now,
It does.
but
I'll connect it. I
now,
got you.
yeah, now, so we are going to be focusing on a good topic that Juggy brings up, which is related to toxic relationships, toxic family members, toxic people in general, and how to deal with it. And so the way that I would segue, or the reason why I would connect those two things, is because meditation is one of my ways to kind of reevaluate my life, what I'm dealing with, and it can help me figure out, okay, am I in a toxic situation? What's really bothering me about my life right now? And so Juggy has something that he's super fired up about. And I'm curious because he had told me before he came on the show, he was like, I got a lot of shit to talk about. I'm fucking
I'm on one.
pissed. So let's hear it, Juggy. Let's get it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, to connect those dots that you're referring to, when you weed, right, when you're doing your gardening, you are removing the unnecessary things that don't need to be there. Weeds
Wow.
just happen to grow because that's just what they do. Nobody likes weeds, but it's a part of life. They're going to be there, and you don't want them there. So yes, you have to literally manually uproot these, things that you don't need to be there because they don't support your lawn. So yeah, that has everything to do with
Wow,
our
look at
subject today, which
that.
is toxicity. Absolutely. I know how to connect those dots. That was a good one.
Yikes. That was
Removing
excellent. On the
things
spot.
that don't need to be there. So by definition, a toxic relationship is either both or one side of that relationship does not support that relationship. So that could be a friendship, that could be a romantic thing, it could be, like you said, family member. And the difference is that the only relationship that you are unable to get out of when it's toxic is a family relationship. We don't get to choose our family. Some of our family members are just effed up, and they're just there. We cannot uproot that. Those are weeds that have to stay. So you have to support it. Okay, you can't just spray it
Maybe
with a
they're
weed
like
be gone.
stumps.
Right. So
They're
we're
harder to get rid
definitely
of.
absolutely we're going to go over things that you can do to continue to have to support that person because it's a family member, but any other type of relationship, friendship, business, romantic, you are in control of that relationship. And if you feel that it's not going anywhere, that you have done everything that you possibly could to try to better that situation, you've shown your support, you've done your support, and it still doesn't work out for you, it's time to walk away. That's the point of this show. It's okay to walk away from toxicity if you've done everything that you possibly could to better that situation. And the reason why I'm on one today is because I actually do feel bad about. I know you're going to laugh at it, but yes, it does involve gaming. It might seem like a stupid thing. Yes, the grand big picture is that, dude, it's video games. Calm down, relax. But this person believes that we have developed relationships like friendships and we've shared things with each other. But the problem is that this person does not take accountability for his own actions, even though he's been called out on it multiply. Um, and it's not just from me, it's from multiple people of our group that we play with. And we all had several discussions about this guy, and we've tried everything that we possibly could. And last night it was just an uprooting. We just walked up and left because I stayed in the party for a little bit while longer, and he showed some more of his true colors. One of his lines was, "I want the satisfaction of kicking out of my clan." Like, that's the person that we're dealing with after offering all this help and calling him out on all of his bullshit. Every single person that does not want to play with that guy left the clan and went somewhere else. And there's more
So
to it than that. Like, and I don't want to take over the entire show, but those are like the main points. People simply just don't want to play with him, and he got called out on it. He got very upset, and I told him that people want to play with like-minded players like myself because we try to help each other. If people screw up or whatever, it's not a big deal. It's part of gaming. But in our opinions, he takes it way too seriously. And even though he says he doesn't like the drama, I think he absolutely loves it. So I can go on, but we have a show and you're a part of it too. And I'm here to support you because I'm not toxic.
yeah, so when
So
you say like-minded people, I think in essence that really translates to people that maybe aren't necessarily going to make you grow, but are at least going to be there to support you while you're trying to grow, not people that bring you down, not people
mhm,
that bring negativity to your life, not people that are
nobody
starting
wants that.
drama over a video game. And listen,
Right.
I it's a video game is supposed to be something fun, right? It's supposed to be something that you do. It could be a form of meditation for people. I have nothing against it as long as people aren't just living their entire life in an alternate reality in a video game and not doing anything else, then it's fine.
Very true.
But
That's right.
and there are a lot of people that do that and I've encountered
Right.
people that do that. And that's toxic. That
Yes.
is somebody who is only, in their little bubble.
Yeah.
And
I understand that
so
anytime that I bring up gaming, I know that it kind of presses a button because you have dealt with, if you don't mind me bringing this up, you were in a
absolutely
relationship
not.
where, oh, okay, well, anybody who, you struck the core. The point that you made was wonderful. Is that too much of anything is a bad thing? Too much video gaming and not being in touch with reality. That sounds pretty toxic. So yeah, you want somebody who has a stress relief. They go and play video games to relieve stress, so that when they leave that game or whatever, they can come back much clearer minded, in a better mood because you just hung out with your friends and you want to go ahead and help even more people. That's kind of the point. But it seems
Balance.
like yes, there you go. It sounds like people who are unbalanced, they do it the wrong way. And again, if you want to do that, like there's so many people out there who go on video games and they yell, they scream, they freak out. The PvP people who get like those videos are hilarious. Those are really fun videos to watch when people rage the fuck out. But the problem is that that's why they go on and play video games. Like, people go on for different reasons, fine, no problem. But I go on for stress relief. And I came to a point where every time this person joined the party, my anxiety would shoot up. And I'm like, I don't like this anymore. So
Right. It's like you're picking up
I
on
approached him and we handled it.
yeah, it's like you're picking up on someone's negative energy over the internet. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
here's the thing with toxic people. You had mentioned how you tried to, or you and your clan tried to improve the situation by saying, hey, what if we do this? Or, just really anything to try and better the scenario. And he didn't
Mhm.
want it. And a
No.
lot of toxic people do not want it. A lot of
Mhm.
people that are stuck in their way, so to speak, are not looking for help unless somebody
No.
is willing to. It's like telling someone you need therapy. No, I would never tell anyone that they need therapy. Would I suggest it? Yes, because everybody can use an outlet. But
Yeah.
telling someone that they need something isn't going to make them want to do it. You have to make that decision on your own. And
Telling people
well,
that they need Jesus also, you know, that's
oh,
kind of
that's
crossing
another
lines.
big
It's like,
thing.
come on. Like, no, we don't need
Keep your
Jesus.
beliefs. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're
I
crossing
mean,
several lines when you say that. Stop saying that. You don't even
I'm
know if
all of.
I support that religion or anything like that. And I don't like to tread religion or politics. I believe those people are super toxic. But I digress. I'm not a big fan when people say, "Oh, you need Jesus." It's like, no, you don't. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm going through, and that's really rude.
And
So
also,
stop saying that.
you don't know my needs. The only person that really knows my needs is me. And if
Mm-hmm.
you learn who I am, then you wouldn't have to tell me what I need. You would just know. But
Y'all
maybe it is
motherfuckers need
Jesus.
Jesus.
Praise the
I
Lord.
love that. Right. Mm-hmm. That motherfucker right over there, he ain't he need Jesus. It's funny, but at the same time, when they're being dead serious about it, it's rude.
It's brutal. Yeah. Don't ever try
Pretty
and,
bad.
I mean, you shouldn't really be pushing your shit onto other people. So that's another thing. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
blame culture is something that's really interesting to me lately because man, people do not take accountability for their actions. That's another form of toxicity. When you make a mistake, admit it. I'm human. I've made several mistakes in my life. I'm going to continue to make more because that's what makes me human. That's fine. That's no big deal. But the thing is that it does take a long time for people to have accountability to make sure that they know, oh man, I now that I'm taking a look at that and my friends just told me what they saw. Oh, I didn't see that I was being like that. Crap. Try to make amends, apologize for it, correct your mistakes, come back, because that's what it's all about. Like people should be understanding that, hey, you made a mistake. Your friends will say, you fucked up there. Just, I hate to tell you, but that's what a real friend does. They'll call you out and say, hey, something fucked up here. That's what friends do. We're trying to help you. And the next step is to be a man, accept that help, and understand that we're just trying to help. We're not, we're not coming on the offensive to attack these people. But when these people are just don't accept help and they don't listen and they're being very stubborn about their ways, it's very hard to deal with. And at that point, it's time to do weeding. It's uproot time. It's walk away time. It's I've tried my best here. It's time to walk away from said person. But as long as you believe that you have done everything in your power to try to help that person and they just refuse your help, I love when you try to give somebody advice. And again, like you said, like, oh, this guy needs Jesus. It's like there's ways to approach people to say, hey, I'm your friend. I'm going to call you out for a second, but please bear with me. Some people need that preface. Then give it to them. Fine. But man, it takes a whole nother level of adulthood to admit that you have faults, to admit that you have mistakes, and it's even a higher level of adulthood to do something about it. Instead of accepting zero help from anybody, I pity those people. And I shouldn't have to pity anybody, but man, I feel so bad for those people who don't accept help. These people love you. They're trying to help. I know it sounds like an attack, but it's not. There's people just trying to help you out, man. There's many forms of love, and there's one of them called tough love. And we just have to walk away from those people. We tried our best, and that's all we can do is just try our best. We tried. And
absolutely.
then we
But
just walk away after that.
I'm gonna challenge you on that a little bit. So
Sure.
I'm gonna give you a scenario.
I love
I
challenges.
am in I'm in a toxic relationship. I'm not saying currently, I'm just giving a hypothetical scenario. I'm in a
Okay.
toxic relationship and I've been in
Okay.
this relationship for 2 years. And
Are you talking
I
friendship, romance, business? What
uh
type of relationship?
we're talking romance.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I'm in this relationship for 2 years with a guy. Let's be clear, with a guy, not a girl. And
All right.
the and the relationship is clearly toxic. I know that
Okay.
it is, but I don't fully know to the extent of as to how toxic it really is. There are signs that there are issues, but I'm blinded by other things and
Okay.
I'm preoccupied with every all of the good things. Now my friend comes into the play and she clearly knows that it's toxic. It's not for me. It's not good. She can see it, but like I said, I'm blinded by other things. what would it be appropriate for her to intervene and be like, hey, listen, this, and this? Or on the flip side of things, would it be more appropriate for her to let me figure things out on my own?
Very good question. Um, as the
Because it's
friend,
so not really her business.
very
And she
true.
doesn't want to skew my opinion.
Right, exactly. We don't want to tell people how to live their lives. It's a very you have to tread lightly around this issue because yes, you're a friend. You're trying to call the person who's in the romantic relationship out by saying, if you list the reasons as to why your point of view is the way it is, then yes, definitely tell that person. Absolutely, 100%. If it even if it risks you ending a friendship, you tried to help. You tried. I think that you're not a friend if you're not trying. That just
I
adds to the
absolutely agree.
toxic relationship. So if you as the friend are trying to intervene verbally, which is perfectly fine, and say, hey, I think that you're in a toxic relationship because A, B, C, you're at least addressing the issue, because if you don't address that issue, in my opinion, you're not really a true friend. So in that case, yes, definitely say something. Again, even if it means that friendship is going to be ruined, and you see your friend continuing that toxic romantic relationship, your hands are up. Hey, I tried. It's not one of those I told you so situations, because I'm sure that if that person hopefully is healthy enough to say, oh my God, my friend was right all those months ago, they'll hopefully break it off. They'll walk away from that toxic relationship and then go to that friend and say, hey, I made a mistake. I should have listened to you. I should have taken your advice. But the thing is, that's if that person, the friend, is right. Sometimes people are trying to help and they're just wrong. Hey, this is what I see, but they're really not in a toxic relationship. They're like, well, this is why this is. This is why this guy and I work so well together, because our balance is different from other relationships. If it works, fine. But you should still say something, because if you repress those feelings, they're going to manifest into something a lot worse for you in the future. I don't think you're a true friend if you just hold things inside and just not say anything.
Absolutely. And a lot of the
Absolutely. That's what I'm
times,
saying. Yeah.
absolutely. And a lot of the times, the fear as well, like it could be a fear. She's not going to listen to me. She's just going to do what she wants anyways, or she's
Sure.
just going to go right back to him. But I think this is where wordplay is super important. And like you said a few times, it's not about telling the person what to do. It's just simply stating, hey, I
This
noticed
is what I'm
this.
seeing.
I
Yes.
noticed this. Are you happy with that? And I've had friends
Yeah.
that have done that for me, and it honestly has changed, not hasn't changed the way I went about things, but it just made me think about things, kind of like therapy does. So, when you go to a therapist and they just ask you something a little bit different than what you're thinking, and then it just kind of gets the gear spinning, and you're like, oh, okay, I didn't really think of it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's exactly
So,
right.
so
If
I guess
anything, your
just
friends are just
providing
providing, yeah, they're just providing a separate form of insight. They're just giving you a different point of view. And hopefully that'll open your eyes a bit and say, oh, I can see why you're looking at it that way. But this is how I see it. And you're either going to agree or disagree. And hopefully you keep that friend, because, you know, it's those types of friends who will call you out. But at some point, and again,
respectfully.
yes, of course. The point that I'm trying to make is that once you get to that certain point of I've tried every single thing to try to help you out, and if you're not going to take my advice, I don't want to be around this relationship. Then you walk away from said relationship. When they're both together, stay away. If they're, if your friend is by themselves and they're just hanging out, fine, go to them. Just don't talk about the relationship. Have a little self control and just don't mention it, because you already have. There's no reason to do things two or three more times. You could just walk away from that situation as long as you've addressed it. If you don't address it, you're not really a true friend. So
Right,
yeah,
and also
absolutely.
a true
Wordplay, you're absolutely right about wordplay too. You have to come across the right way and make sure that you're saying things the way that you want to be, the way that it's supposed to be said.
and on with that whole thing being said, a true friend wouldn't, I mean, what really is a true friend? Multiple, obviously that takes multiple things into play. But when it comes to the person that is in a toxic relationship, if you are truly a good friend to whoever you're close with, whatever, then you wouldn't necessarily change your relationship with whoever else is in your life, with your family, with your best friends. You're the shit that you deal with on a personal level, relationship wise, is your thing. And if you start taking, yes, you might change as a person, but if you notice that you're starting to change around the people that have always been there for you, or around the people that you really get along with, that means that something is probably not right.
Hmm.
You shouldn't
Yeah.
be, you shouldn't really be treating, regardless of your relationship. Maybe you won't spend as much time with your friends or your family. That's normal when you're in a relationship, but you shouldn't be treating them differently, like completely shunning them out of your life or treating them like shit, whatever it may
Yeah.
be. But
Yeah. And then that kind of spills over into I did say that I was going to mention family toxicity because oh boy, all kinds of families are different. My family is different from everybody else's. And I've seen a lot of different types of family relationships where it's like, hey man, that your brother over there, he does a ton of drugs. You just let him do that. That person, I'm assuming, has addressed that issue time and time again. It seems like that person just doesn't want to accept the help, or they just love doing the drugs, and they're in a place where they just can't be consoled. So there's nothing you can do because it's already been done. I tried to address the issue. And when it comes to family, like it's so difficult because um at that point now you're just coping. You want that person to change for the better, and you want that person to be healthy in your definition, but they're a completely different person. They have their own brain, they have their own point of view. It's time to respect that and say, if you want to do that, that's fine, but if it's affecting me, oh, I'm going to continue to address it. Absolutely. If you're affecting my way of life, and it's bothering me, and you're intervening with your problems in my life, there's going to be issues that I'm going to continue to raise concern, and I'm just going to continue to kind of push you out of my life. I don't want to deal with you, kind of a thing. I'm walking away because I've tried. You know what I mean? Again, as long as you try, it's perfectly fine. I know a lot of family relationships, they haven't spoken to each other in decades, literally decades, and they're fine with it. They're perfectly fine. I hate seeing it, but I have seen it. I've seen it before many times.
yeah,
And
I
if
mean,
they're that toxic and you've tried that much, it's time to walk away. If you're not going to accept my help, then why am I going to beat a dead horse? Why am I going to smash my head against this wall trying to help you if you're just not going to help? It's like, it's like a homeless person asking another homeless person for money. You can keep asking, they're not going to give it to you. So just keep ask 100 more times. They can't help you. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
as long, by my definition, again, as long as you felt that you have tried your best to better the situation, and that person just simply does not want to be helped, it's time to cut the cord. It's time to walk away, because I'm not wasting my time, my energy, and my positivity on somebody who does not want to be helped. I've tried, and that's all I can do.
yeah. And if it takes for you not only cutting the cord on you trying to help that individual stop whatever it may be they're doing, then maybe it just means you, even if it's family, just maybe you just need to cut that relationship with that person. I've had people, so I had a scenario with a family member where they were excessively drinking, and I tried, because I truly cared about the person, of course,
Mm-hmm.
to help them. It started with me enabling them and picking them up when they were hammered, picking them up when they lost their phone, their keys, whatever it may have been. Then I
Thanks for
started
taking
to
me home that night,
realize.
by the way. I lost my keys that night too. Yeah.
and
I'm red in the face because there's sun. I'm not drinking right now, I promise.
then
That must
I
have been
started to
difficult though.
realize, though that I it was bringing me down. It was affecting my life because I was trying to help someone else's life and they weren't giving me anything in return except for bringing me down. So it got to a point where I realized that I needed to step back, and me stepping back was not talking to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And my family was very upset with me, and they pulled the card, well, it's your family, like what if they died tomorrow, blah blah blah. And I'm like, honestly, I wouldn't be upset. I would not be upset that I cut ties with this person because they were toxic, and it's as simple as
Mm-hmm.
that. And if they decide, it actually indirectly helped that person get better because they
Yeah.
realized that they lost an important relationship in their life.
Yeah.
And so I guess just analyzing, we are no psychologists. We don't know.
No, we're just trying to help.
Yeah, we don't know
That's it.
the answers to any of this, but I guess
No.
learning from past and present experiences is super valuable.
Yeah. And it's
for
wonderful to
sure.
hear other people's past experiences. That way you don't have to learn the hard way yourself. I love
Absolutely.
listening to people's situations because it's a problem that, man, I hope I never have to deal with. But God forbid, if somebody else has that problem, at least I'll be able to have some insight. Hey, I know this friend who I talked to about this exact thing, and this is what they did. What do you think?
Right.
You're
And
just
everyone's
trying to
different.
help.
May work, may not.
I love listening to people's situations because it provides me with better preparation just in case if that situation ever happens to me. I got ammo now. I'm looking good. I'm prepared now. So I have no problem dealing in situations where, hey, if I lose a friendship, again, at least I tried. I have been to AA before. I have a DUI in my record. And what I've learned from that was um when you try to take the keys away from somebody who has been drinking and it ends friendships, fine. I would rather end a friendship than end my friend's life right then and there.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that example. As soon as I was in one of those classes, I had to take like a 15-week course, and during that I was like, oh my god, like these people have, I was listening to, like, I think I want to say about maybe 7 8 9 people, whatever, and I was listening to their story on how they got arrested and how they got, some of them were more severe than the other. Like some of them are like, yeah, you kind of belong here, but other people are like, man, I hopped into a car and I literally drove 2 houses down to a gas station. I should have walked, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you're right, it was kind of silly. And then you know um it's a situation where I don't mind talking about it because it's a mistake that I have made and it's going to help somebody else. I can say somebody, dude, I have a DUI on my record. I don't want that for my worst enemy. Never. It
It's a
sucks. It's the
terrible thing to
worst.
deal with. It costs
I
not
have
only does it
I have
cost a
so many
lot
issues
of
trying to get a
money.
job lately. It's ridiculous. It stays on your record for 10 years and I can't even be an Uber driver for the next 3 years. That's how embarrassing it is. It really is highly embarrassing. But if I can help somebody not get into that car, not get pulled over, and God forbid, kill themselves or other people, I'm going to end a friendship because that's the greater good. If I
I
never
agree
talk
with
to that
you.
person ever again and they live a long, happy life, mission accomplished.
Yeah. At least you can say that you stopped them that one time from injuring either
Exactly.
themselves or someone else. You did what you
Yeah,
could, and
that's
everything
exactly
else is
right.
in their hands.
And we're talking about pretty severe examples. That's an example of a friendship, a toxic friendship. We've touched upon family toxic relationships. We've touched upon what did I say? Family, friendship, romance, business is something I wanted to touch upon as well. Have you ever felt that you were in a job where there was a toxic relationship, meaning your boss was either taking advantage of you, not in like in a comedic molesting way, but like, they I mean, which does happen, and fuck all of those
Damn
horrible
it, you
manager
took
and
my
owner.
example.
Damn. Okay. I know. But let's just say, all right, so a more realistic example is like when you have a coworker and they're not even in your ballpark. You do way more work than them and they get paid the same.
Welcome to the
That sounds pretty
restaurant
toxic
business.
because yeah, you don't jump the gun. But it's true. Any business though, any business, restaurant,
Absolutely.
marketing, it doesn't matter what you're in. Okay. But if you feel that you are doing the same amount of work as the person who's next to you and you guys are, and they're getting more money, that's one example. Or if you are doing 10 times more work than the person next to you and you're getting paid the same, that's pretty toxic to me
Grow up your
because it's going to
balls and go speak to your boss and be like, listen, motherfucker, I deserve
address
this.
it.
I deserve this. And if you're not going to give it to me, bye. People are
Deuces.
so,
Exactly. You walk away from the toxicity. That's the point
yeah.
I'm trying to make. You can quit your job, folks. You can get
People
out
are
of that
so
situation.
against that. People are so worried. I mean, I guess it really
Oh, you
depends
quit your
on what
job?
field you're in,
Yeah,
but I'd rather be
a shitty
jobless and
job.
homeless than working for that in that scenario. I mean,
There you go.
I'd have a
I would.
tent, but like,
That's fine, but it's a non-toxic tent, so
yeah,
that's perfectly fine. And if you're it's unfortunate because people are coping during working with people who they hate. It's just a normal thing. For some reason, there's always that one person at your job that you just want to beat the fuck out of every single day. We all deal with it. Everybody does. Most people are like, God, I hope that fucking person just walks in the middle of traffic while looking at their phone. I really do. But you don't want to be that way.
Jesus.
That's toxic. You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want to be that toxic of a person to wish ill will upon others. That's wrong. Okay.
I
But
was
you
gonna say,
should
who's the
address its
toxic
management.
one there?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Hoping
Then
someone
you are.
gets hit by a car. Hit by
Yeah,
a car. E.
yeah, exactly. but that's not, that's what I mean. I say that just to make a little bit of
No,
fun, but
I know.
clearly I don't mean
I'd
that.
wish that. I mean,
I know, I have too, but then I take a step back and go, yeah, they're kind of fucked up on the rest of their family, so no, I don't wish that.
exact.
Maybe severely hurt, but not dead. We all
Just break a
have our
leg.
limits, I guess. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if an actor can be told to break a leg, then why can't they? Um, no, and that's where you, or people in general, they'll take it too far. They'll say, "Oh man, I hope something horrible happens to that person." No, you really don't. Stop it. That's enough. You just want to express that you're currently in some sort of a toxic business relationship, and one side is not supporting the other, or both sides are not being supported, and it just doesn't work. So you walk away from it. If you want progress, positivity, and everything else in your life to go well, you identify the toxicity and you walk the fuck away from it. That's really all you can do sometimes. You can go to somebody who doesn't want help and you try to help them, and they're just brick walls. They don't want to be helped. They're not going to be helped. And that's, you just leave them alone. You just leave them alone. If they want to be alone, you leave them alone, because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So
those are
take
so
yourself out of
when
that
when it
situation.
yeah, when it comes to stressors, a lot of stressors we can't control. And so we can sit here and dwell on them, and we can sit here and dwell on that piece of shit coworker who we hopes breaks a leg in traffic, or we can realize that we can't control that. But on the contrary, the person that's sitting next to us and making more money than us, we can potentially control that by going to our boss and being like, all right, listen, bitch, I know what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So, taking, when it comes to toxicity, taking things you can and can't control. And then I also think, to go along with that, balancing how many things do you feel you can't control, that you don't like, that you don't want to deal with for the rest of your life. If somebody has a lot of negative qualities that you feel like you're trying to control, it's probably not going to be something that you can sustain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
And when people ever bring up to me, for example, like they'll try their best to put me in a toxic situation. For example, I mentioned I don't ever like to talk about religion or politics, but sometimes that's all people want to talk about, especially at bars. But even if they're at their own houses or something like that, I veer away hard. I can't
Ooh,
tell
me
you how many
too.
times I've been approached and it's like, hey, what do you think about Biden and this and this and this? And I just, I have no comment on that. And they're like, what?
Yeah,
Well, you can't speak up for yourself. I'm like, no, I choose not to comment on religion or politics. Bring up another subject. And they're like,
that's a
well, you're being antisocial. No, I'm talking to you, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm in control of what I talk about, not you. And that's what people don't understand. They're trying to take control of the situation and they cannot control me. I control me. You want me to give my opinion about
absolutely
religion and politics? It's not going to happen. And they can't
right.
control that. So once they start losing that little bit of control, then they're going to prompt you, they're going to start agitating you, and all you continuously have to do is just say no comment. I'm not talking. If you bring up that subject one more time, I'm just going to walk away from you, lonely. And then if they, then you know that they can't help themselves, they'll do it again. You take a walk.
Yeah,
Hey
I
ladies, what's
started.
up? What's up with a grumpy McPolitic over there? I don't want to fucking talk to him. Can you, who likes politics here? Go and talk to that guy,
Also,
please.
Also, the bar is not the place to bring up politics. When I was bartending and people would talk about that shit, I'd stop serving them drinks. I'd be like, you either get the fuck out of here or you change the topic, because we're not doing this right now. Like, I
Absolutely.
refuse to start
have
this. And
have
I
you
mean,
have you ever seen a political or religious conversation end in a positive note?
no.
Have you ever seen people
I
join
mean,
hands and say, yes, we're working together on this issue?
no.
Ever.
And if
I've
people
never seen it.
enjoy arguing or debating over that kind of stuff, that's fine, but just know a time and place. So, like, you just made me think about the whole mask situation. And people have
What
been
mask situation?
what mask? Um,
What pandemic? What are you talking about?
People have been bringing it up around me a lot more lately because now they're lifting all of the requirements and whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah,
don't
no mask in
speak.
restaurants.
I don't speak about it anymore. I There was a good amount of time where I was vocalizing my opinion, and a lot more people did not agree with me than did, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. There's no need for
Yeah, they have
people
their
to agree with
opinions.
everything I say,
Yep.
but I've just realized that I'm not going to share that opinion because people don't want to hear it. Every time I would say how I felt about it, because they didn't believe in what I said, they wouldn't listen to me. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to share my opinion on it. So I started doing what you do with the whole politics thing, and I just keep my mouth shut. And honestly, I feel way better about it because the only thing that would ever happen to me when I actually did vocalize my opinion on the situation was I'd start to get heated. Like I would feel myself getting pretty angry about it and feeling people not agreeing with me, which is not that's not the problem, but it's the way that people would look at me. And I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to keep this out of my mouth. And if somebody is really interested in understanding how like why I feel the way I feel about this whole thing, that's fine. Other than that, I'm not bringing that shit up anymore. Same
Yeah.
thing with vaccines. Same thing again with politics too. I'm all about sharing opinions, but those are not, even more importantly, I don't know shit about politics. So how can I go and be like, I'm voting? I
I
don't even
admit
know
that
who's
too.
like
What's the House of Representatives? I don't care. Okay.
representing
You're
what.
absolutely right. I need
Like,
to be more educated in politics so that I can have a viable, intelligent conversation. I will admit 100%, not
you don't
very
have
well
to be
versed.
though. If you're not into it,
Uh,
you're not into it.
well, yeah, that's yeah for me, yes. But when other people want to prompt a political or religious opinions, I'll admit right off the bat, hey, I'm just not good at understanding how politics works in general. So I'm not the one to talk to here. You're not
There
going to
you
have an
go.
intelligent conversation. So why have a conversation with that about me? I am still learning about people's religions. Like I'm continuously learning about like Muslims, Buddhists. Again, I'm not very well versed on the different types of religion. I mostly just know about me because that's I have my own beliefs and stuff like that, and I'm just going to leave that at there. Again, I'm not very well versed. I'm not totally educated on the different types of religions and different types of politics. So there's no reason to have that discussion with me. I wish I could help. I wish I can give you some opinions, but I simply don't know enough. So I
So
don't want to
that's,
bring that person down by my unintelligence.
well, in a way, that is you being intelligent because you're being honest with how much you know and what scope
Yeah.
of practice you're in or whatever, you've actually, you could go and start saying you're, oh, I didn't vote for Trump because he's a dick, but like you really don't know anything about anything. So
Yeah.
instead of even doing that, you're just not just same thing with health and fitness, which is some kind of goes into what we talked about last episode. Don't go out there and spread shit about shit that you don't know shit about.
Yeah.
Literally become at least well versed in an area before you even start giving off your opinions, because otherwise
Go
it's
to your
just invalid.
.orgs, like we've mentioned before.
.govs.
Um, .govs, exactly. Go to your legitimate and um, your websites that have a reputable website that have that correct data, and try to better yourself in this situation. For me, I know that I'm a little bit lazy when it comes to that stuff because my point about religion and politics is it never ends good. It never ends well. I never see two people walking away from each other supporting each other in any of those two subjects. I just avoid it like the plague. No, thank you. Not getting involved. Every single conversation that is about any one of those two things, it never ends good. I've never seen a positive when it comes to that kind of stuff, unless it's only about their religion or only about their political views. To me, that is just severe toxicity right there. So
Boom.
I try to avoid it. I
Toxic.
walk away from it. I weed it and I walk away.
Walk away. Does it
That's
look
right.
like I'm drinking diarrhea? What would you think this
Yeah,
is?
it looks like that looks like what you're about to
What just
streamline out
came
of.
out of my butt?
Yeah, that looks like you had soup last night. That's what that looks like.
Nah, it's
Absolutely.
it's
What is
watered
that?
down iced
Carrots?
coffee. It's watered down iced coffee, but every time I take a sip out of it, I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, this really looks like diarrhea.
Yeah, that's a good prank though. You just take a whole coffee, like a large coffee, and just pour it in the toilet and don't flush, and just see the reactions that people get. That's just
I mean, it's
fun to
pretty
me.
accurate.
Yeah, because the sound and everything, it's just bloop, and then walk out, leave the door wide open, and just
is,
see
it,
just see the reactions.
is
Are
that what
you
your
fucking?
diarrhea
Aren't you gonna
sounds like?
flush the fucking toilet? Yeah, if you know every you streamlined. It sounds like you're pissing out of your butt.
Sounds like a fucking whale's coming out of your butt.
Yeah, that's a different type of toxicity right there. I'm
Oh
juicing. I'm
my.
trying to push out my toxicity.
Oh
That's
no,
another. I mean, we could talk
toxins.
about that.
What,
There's a lot of
toxins?
toxins in your body. Like physical toxins. We can talk about the health
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
here's not how to do it. Do not do the cabbage soup diet to cleanse yourself. Do not go on an all juice diet to cleanse yourself. to get rid of your
Oh,
toxins. No.
yeah. How do you feel about when people ask? Because I know they have. They say I'm going to do either a juice cleanse and or like an X-Lax cleanse to get all of that stuff out of my system as I'm bringing new healthy stuff in. That's their
No.
mindset. How do you feel?
I don't feel good about it
Okay.
because I would always suggest if you do want to, so to speak, cleanse your body, go on like a 3-day fast. Putting juice into your body that has probably been produced on tilled crops to shit and uh all used with even if you get organic, you don't know what chemicals are in whatever you're consuming. So
Hmm.
whatever you're drinking, first of all, is probably not as healthy as you think. Second of all, only feeding your body liquids is highly suspect, like weird. And that's why I bring up the cabbage soup diet, because people will literally, because it's like negative calories, you burn more calories eating cabbage soup than you do consuming it.
Which is not a thing. Not,
It's
there's no such
water,
thing as a
it's
negative
liquid.
calorie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's liquid. So you're not fully letting your body reset or clear out toxins because you're still putting things into your body.
Hmm.
So like I said, an alternative would be going on a decently long fast, something that you're not used to. It'll shock your body, but you won't be drinking liquid fruit for days. And
Hmm.
I would also suggest the sauna. The sauna releases what are called
Ah, I love
heat
saunas
shock
and steam rooms.
proteins and exercise. That is another
Yeah.
good way to release toxins. So, three
Uh
natural things: fasting,
huh.
exercise, and sauna is another way of, increasing your metabolic rate and everything rather than if you're not exercising. But that's
I
a whole nother topic.
love, love, love saunas and or steam rooms. I love them.
Absolutely.
I know that some people find them to be terribly gross, especially in like public gyms. You're absolutely right. A lot of those old folks love to go in there and sit their shitty naked
Wrinkly
ass on that
ass.
thing and they don't wash and it's disgusting. Like they'll go and they'll do long walks and they'll lift their 5 pound weights and they're all sweaty and they don't have the common decency to take a water down shower and then they'll just walk straight in. I totally get that. It's disgusting. But if you can find a good, clean one, oh my God, I love just sitting there with like either a half gallon or a gallon of water and just sitting there for about 10, 15 minutes. Again, too long is a bad thing. You don't want to pass out in there. It's not a pretty picture. And just drink ice cold water and just feel your body just pushing out all of the all the hydro particles out of your skin and just oh my God. And then the shower afterwards. Oh, I can't tell you how refreshing that is. It is literally just pushing out all of the alcohol and all the bad and negative things out of your body. When you actually feel it coming out of your system,
All of the
you
alcohol.
feel like an absolute yes, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah, so it's
for me, it's a
funny.
wonderful feeling.
This is kind of a gross story, but so
Let's hear it.
I don't know if I've really mentioned this on the podcast yet, but I've been training martial arts for about 8 months now, and
Hmm.
I just recently in the past month started doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So it's a lot more, instead of the kicking and punching that I do in Muay Thai, it's wrestling essentially, grappling.
Bra- Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. What is it like? No bush? Karate with no bush?
I
Gotcha.
knew you were
Sure. I had to go there. Come on. You left the door wide open.
trash.
Come on.
So, anyways, where I was going with that was one day last week. It was Saturday at 11, and I had gotten home the night before at like 2 in the morning after drinking. And I was rolling with somebody, meaning we're grappling, and they were just
Hmm.
like, oh, they're like, you smell like you just drank like 10 shots of alcohol, and they were on the verge of throwing up. They're like, this is fucking disgusting. And then I knew that it was real because the next three people that I rolled with were also like, oh. So releasing toxins. Exercise releases toxins, and that is the moral of that nasty story.
Yeah,
Also.
very true. Very true. Yeah, sometimes people can't smell themselves because they're around themselves so much that their nose and their senses are trained to just get used to it. And, when somebody else comes along and is like, holy shit, is that you? You don't know it because you've been around yourself for so long that you, one, get used to it, or two, you're in denial. Just go wash off.
Yeah.
What's the big
Yeah, I
deal?
didn't
But
I
yeah,
didn't
that's
drink.
that's funny. I've rolled with people before that are like, you smell like alcohol. It's like, yeah, You smell like alcohol. This is why we're here rolling.
At least I know. I was like, that's why I'm here. I'm trying to burn this shit off. Like, can you blame me? I clearly drank too much last night. I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so let's transition this or close it up with talking about how about we talk about some, I guess, coping mechanisms. So let me bring up an example to make more sense of this. When I was in multiple toxic relationships, my biggest coping mechanism naturally was exercise, but I found that
Hmm.
I needed aggressive exercise to help me cope with all of the toxic things that I had dealt with. And that's not for everyone. So I started, like I said, I started doing the martial arts, but on top of it, I also needed to learn that not everything needs to be released with aggression. A lot of things can be released with breathing and being a normal person and not going nuts in a gym, punching 3,000 people for no reason. So
Yeah. Well said.
I started meditating every single night. And we've talked about meditation before. We've talked about mind body experience and stretching to get that, you know, breathing technique down. But for me, that is again, going along with the weeding, that is my best way of coping. And not only coping, but understanding the signs of a toxic relationship. Sometimes you realize that or you don't realize enough about a person until a certain amount of time has passed, and then you start to pick up on all of these things, and then you kind of become upset with yourself because you're like, how did I let myself do that in anything
Yeah.
and with
Yeah.
anyone, friends, family, and you get down on yourself, and it's so easy to get down on yourself for having done something like that. But instead, it just take it as a learning experience and find ways to help you get back to what makes you happy and what works for you. And again, meditation can help you get there because it is basically just taking time to yourself to block everything else out just for 10 minutes and figure out what the hell is going on.
Very
Juggy, what
well
about
said.
you?
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to be aggressive about it and you want to hit the punching bag, go for it, because you're better off hitting a punching bag because that's what it's there for, than to go around and start, injuring yourself by hitting objects or God forbid other people. That's not the way that you want to handle that situation. And some people, they get so pent up and they get very, very aggressive and they get very angry that they don't have a choice. Like they just need to collide with something. They need to hit something. I mean, I probably would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that that's a huge part of your Brazilian jiu-jitsu is when you hit something, there's just that endorphins just get released. It just feels good to either break something or hit something. That's why a lot of people play aggressive sports. It's just a way to channel that anger into something progressive. And if you're doing that, great. I would suggest that if that's how you get, if you have a little bit more a zen like way, if you just feel that anxiety is building up a little bit. We've mentioned meditation before. Shout out to Pat Oates and his meditation, of course. um, we've mentioned also, like you said, just taking 10 minutes, breathing it out, counting. I know it sounds really corny, but oh my god, does it help? As long as you try different things and go through that trial and error period where you have to find things that work for you and eliminate things that don't work for you. If you feel that you're getting even more aggressive hitting that punching bag, you have to admit that and you have to accept it. And hopefully you will shift gears into a more progressive channel. And that's all the process of us trying to find our balance. It's trial and error. Hey, I tried it, didn't work for me. So I'm going to try something else. Keep on going, man. Enjoy your journey and let me know if you need any more help with that. That's the point. We're all here to support each other, because if one person is not being supportive, that defines a toxic relationship, no matter what kind of relationship it is. So if you're trying to help people, continue to try to help, but don't waste your own positive energy on people who don't need, or I'm sorry, who don't want to be helped. Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't,
Great
if
point.
you want to give a little bit of time and address some issues and give your point of views and have people be mad at you for a little while, fine. All you're doing is trying to help. And hopefully those people will grow up. They'll see their error in their ways and they'll come back to you and say, you know what? You're absolutely right, man. I was really fucked up back there and you were around and I knew why you left, because hopefully they can be adult enough to have that accountability and understand that people are just trying to help. So please identify your problems, please admit to them, and please try to correct them. and go above and beyond the Call of Duty and try that for a friend. Okay, we're not here to end friendships, um, but if that's what happens, if you're trying to help somebody in the long run, in the big picture, that's perfectly fine by me. So as long as you're helping, keep it up and try not. And once you reach a point where those people cannot be helped and you feel like you're just wasting your time, breath, energy, and positivity, it's time to walk away. Just let those weeds grow all around, and hopefully they'll see that for themselves. And that's
Yeah,
that's that's how I would
and
handle that situation.
that was very well said, Juggy. And
Thank you.
one thing that you had mentioned before is sharing your stories. Tell people what you've been through. I used to be ashamed to tell people that I was in an abusive relationship years ago, and
I
now I
also feel
really,
ashamed about the DUI, but it has helped a lot of people. I know that's
yeah.
an embarrassing mistake, but sorry, continue. Sorry for cutting you
No,
off.
no, that's all right. I mean, it also just helps people feel a little bit better about themselves. You know, when you say that and someone else has that issue and they don't talk about it and they hear it come from your mouth, that might make them be like, "Oh, I'm not the only one," you know.
If he can
Sometimes
get a DUI, I can get a
I can get
DUI.
another DUI.
He's got one, I
Let's
can
all
get
get
two.
DUIs. But
Yeah.
it does make you feel a little bit better when you hear that other people who, you know, it's not just piece of shits that go through these things. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot more people go through these scenarios who, even people who are successful, they still, you know, you can be more vulnerable at certain times in your life, which can make you more susceptible to getting into some type of toxic relationship. And sharing it with others is just a really good way to help other people move forward, feel better about themselves, and potentially get some good feedback that may help you in turn.
That's right.
So,
You're technically helping yourself when you share these embarrassing stories with others because, in turn, hopefully they'll support you. They'll tell you, oh man, that sucks, man. That must be a rough road. But yeah, it's helping other people, though. Excuse me. And it's just
absolutely.
as long as it helps other people, sometimes that will be instant karma. They'll give their perspective to you, enriching you with more preparation stories so that you can just continue to help others. And you just can, and it just continues on and on and on and on. So
Boom.
if you eliminate as much toxicity in your life um, as you should be, then hopefully you'll have wonderful karma. You'll have great people. You're surrounded by positive and supportive people, and you'll just, in my opinion, you'll just lead a happier life. So, yeah, I hope that people can be adult enough to identify those mistakes, identify that they are accountable for them, and then hopefully they do something about it. That's really all we can do. So if people are stuck on one of those steps, I try to help you, but it's you're kind of doing it
It's
to
out of
yourself
my
at that
sight,
point.
out of my control.
I tried, and that's all you can do. I'm not going to sit here and try to break down a wall with my forehead. It's just not going to work. I'm gonna stop hurting myself. I'm just gonna walk away from this wall. That's why, because I'm done trying.
And
You
with
know,
that being said, if you guys have any further questions, please call your psychologist because we are by no means experts in this area.
we are not experts. We're hopefully your friends that are just sharing some stories and trying to help you out, plain and simple. Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
just here
And
to help.
so it was a little bit of a different type of health related talk today, but again, I think we can really branch off into any direction and hopefully we helped you out a bit. Juggy, you have any closing thoughts on your end?
No, I don't want to beat a dead horse like I've been
Exactly.
telling myself
No,
not to
no, you
do.
haven't.
Um, but yeah, again, hopefully those people who you find very toxic, all you can do after trying to help them is hope that they realize that they do need help, and hopefully that they can just continue to if they're going to continue to be toxic, then then just get away from it. Just you want to try to better yourself by eliminating as many negative people and as many negative situations as you possibly can, because you're going to reach an age where you just don't have time for it. you know
And
it's
yes,
just one of those things. So yeah, I did a wonderful raid this past weekend. There's a ton of clips on at Juggy Haha. If y'all want to go check them out, some of them are funny, some of them are really cool in my opinion. And follow me on Twitch, Juggy010. I think Sports Mask may have a show upcoming either Wednesday or Thursday. We need to nail that down. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And Thanks for the reboot on this wonderful show there, chick.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys go and hit the subscription button on our new YouTube channel, Simplified Health, or don't, whatever. I mean, if your finger just so happens to slip and hit it, that'd be awesome.
If you
And give
find us
us
toxic,
feedback.
get away from us.
Yeah. We might be too toxic for you, but if we
That's right.
aren't, hit that button. Also, give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. And remember, all of our audio is always available on every podcast platform. And my last closing
Audio.
piece of advice is, oh, Juggy, is to put yourself ahead of other people and make sure that you fill your life with more positive than negative. And I think that should help us all avoid being with shitty people, toxic relationships, and help us have our own positive life. And we will be back next week on hopefully Tuesday again.
I feel supported and I support you.
Yeah.